Audio check. 1, 2. Where? Up here? Yes. Mr. Chairman, Chris Powell from PA Benjamin is the director there. I don't have his, I didn't have his name, so I need to. He's a title sponsor. Yeah, no, he's title sponsor.
It's a big 2-0. Yes! 20 years of the Wesley Powell meet to be celebrated on Saturday, December 9 and brought to you by Benjamin's. You don't want to miss this pre-Christmas family event. Lots of fun rides and non-stop action on the track, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Excelsior High School in Kingston. Free Wi-Fi, lots of prizes and surprises, and a unique experience for everyone. Visit wesleypowellmeet.com for more information. Admission $500. Don't miss it.
Check. 1, 2. Yes, and I'm a guidance counselor here at Excelsior High School. At this time, let us pause to open our proceedings with prayer. Check. Okay. Sorry about that. Yes, at this time, let us pause to open our proceedings with prayer, after which our principal, Mr. Dean Roy Bromfield, will deliver greetings and the official welcome. So would you join with me? Let us pray. Gracious God and sovereign Father, we acknowledge your presence this morning. We come with grateful hearts before you as we observe today the launch of this very important meet. We want to welcome your presence and to ask for your guidance over the proceedings today. We're grateful to you for all the many blessings that you have bestowed upon us. And in regards to this particular meet, we're thankful especially for our sponsors and for those who will be honored. We're thankful for the abilities that you have given. And so we pray, oh God, that your blessings would be with them and that you would also enable them to continue to give support to these meets as they redound to the benefit of athletes and young people who will make their contribution to this nation. Lord, we commend all that will be said and done in your hands. We pray that your lordship and your guidance would watch over our proceedings, and at the end may you be glorified. This we ask through Christ our Lord. Amen. So at this time, the official welcome by our principal, Mr. Dean Roy Bromfield. Would you kindly put your hands together and welcome him?
Thank you very much, Reverend Edwards. I hope I'm allowed to start like this. Thank God we're here again this year. And this is our 20th staging of the what I now refer to as the Wesley Powell track meet in partnership with PA Benjamin and Excelsior High School. And I have to say this, and dash. So, thank you, Reverend Edwards, for starting us off in prayer. I want to say again how grateful I am that we're here, and I hope you are equally grateful as I am. And how grateful I am, not just because we're here, but because we are able to share this with all of you. And I want to start off by acknowledging the persons who are, well, 3 of the 4 persons who are seated here. Thanks, Reverend Edwards, our chairman and guidance counselor and someone who wears so many hats in Excelsior. But I want to start off with my colleague and in some ways boss, Mr. Keith Wellington, president of ISA and the principal of St. Elizabeth Technical High School. Thank you very much for deciding to come to speak to us this morning. Mr. Powell, is it CEO Benjamin, director of PA Benjamin? Thank you for partnering with us in this venture, and we look forward to a very long partnership. And to all the other representatives of PA Benjamin, welcome to Excelsior or welcome back to Excelsior. To Mr. Don Gittens, CEO of Manpower and Maintenance Services, I'm not sure I'm getting it right, but thank you for the tremendous contribution you have given to us and that allowed us or has allowed us to be staging what I anticipate to be the best version of this trap meet yet. I want to say thank you to all the other sponsors, all the representatives of the sponsors. EFAST, Western Union, Caribbean Assurance, Brokers Limited, Technique Lab, iCool. Am I missing any? Sorry, my memory is bad. Yes, I did mention Western Union. Thank you. And all the other persons who will sponsor us and who have. It is because of you why we are able to do this morning. So, Excelsior High School is proud of this meet. It represents part of what our founder, Dr. the Honorable Wesley Powell, foresaw and wanted for an institution, one that would seek to help or to facilitate the development of children in all spheres of their lives. So we never thought that sports was secondary. Sports was always a primary part of the school's curriculum. And it was always part developing the children's talents in sports and in other cultural offerings was just as important as developing their cognitive sphere. And so we are proud of that tradition. And we are grateful that this meet serves as a symbol of how we think about development. We anticipate that the various athletes will do extremely well when they come to our meet. We are grateful for the friends who have supported us. And I have to acknowledge persons from various schools. I see Camperdown, our good friends. And I have to mention Dr. Stan. I see St. George's College. And I see members, well-wishers, I see members of the media who help us in this production so that not just the persons who come to Excelsior, but so many other persons can participate in what happens or what will happen here in the second week of December. But I think I've said too much already. So I want to also specially mention the members of DASH, particularly those original members of DASH. And I see two persons here who we don't see too often, Mr. Garth Case and Mr. Danny Clark. Thank you for being here this morning. You represent why Excelsior is known again, let me use again, in track and field. I'm so grateful. If I might end one with a very short story. About 10 years ago, just when DASH started, one of my past students who then hosted a radio program was speaking with some persons about track and field and doing some forecasting about schools that would trouble the scorers and would also perform creditably at champs, not the normal big names. And somebody mentioned Excelsior. And somebody else's response was, listen, it's track and field we're talking about, not football. So we've come full circle. Because now when we talk about sports in Excelsior, track and field is now the preeminent sport. God bless you all. Thank you for embarking on this continued journey with us. And I am sure that success awaits us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bromfield, my very hard-working boss here at Excelsior High School. So permit me just to acknowledge the president of ISA, Mr. Keith Wellington, our special guest speaker, Mr. Chris Powell, Chairman P.A. Benjamin, Mr. Don Gittins, the CEO of Manpower, and I saw walking in not too long ago who's the president, founder and president, Mrs. Audrey Hinchcliffe, the student athletes who are present here this morning, members of the organizing committee, DASH, our sponsors, we can't do without, and of course the media. Good morning again and greetings to all of you. Welcome to Excelsior High School. So I am sure that you're aware that the Wesley Powell Benjamins.
May I extend a very special welcome to Mrs. Audrey Hinchcliffe, who came in after I did the welcome. She's very special to the school and very special to this particular event. Thank you very much.
Had to do that. Yes, so the Wesley Powell P.A. Benjamin's Track and Field Meet 2023 is embarking on its 20th staging. As you are aware, the meet, which started in 1998 to honor the memory of the late founder, Dr. the Honorable Aston Wesley Powell, has grown tremendously from 21 schools and 700 athletes who participated at that time to over 1,700 athletes representing 53 teams today. You could put your hands together for that, you know. And many of our track and field stars have competed at some point in their developing years at the Wesley Powell Benjamin's Meet. These include Asafa Powell, Shelley and Fraser Price, Melanie Walker, Megan Simmons, Tappernow, Jahil Hyde, Julian Ford, Clive Pullen, Cheyenne Salmon, Natalia White, Raheem Ford, who recently was a finalist at the World Championship. Just to name a few, you could go on and on. In addition to the competition on the track, we will also host a workshop for athletes, parents, managers, and coaches on Friday, December the 1st on Zoom, titled Parental Support Needed for Successful Sports Performance. More details will be provided later in this program. The meet continues to be popular among coaches, athletes, and patrons. It allows coaches to evaluate the progress of their athletes as they approach the end of the preparation phase of their training programs. It also provides for athletes to compete on a grass track, which research has shown gives an advantage in developing certain fundamental components for sprinting and jumping. The meet also assists coaches to make important changes to their training regime going on the eve of the competition phase of their season. The meet provides an opportunity for athletes to compete in over-distance events. Interestingly, the Wesley Powell P.A. Benjamin's Track and Field Meet remains one of the two remaining meets with over-distance events. The meet will have 48 track events and 32 field events for both males and females who will compete in classes 1 through to 4 and open for high school and open for clubs, colleges and institutions and primary schools. The track events are timed electronically and results will also be posted live on the internet. We will also have a Wi-Fi hotspot powered by Flow for patrons to access the results live. So, having given you that background, we want to proceed now, and at this time, welcome to speak with us our title sponsors. None of this, of course, all of what I've just said could have been done without our sponsors. And we are appreciative of all those who have come on board and to make the 20th staging a success. Our title sponsor, as you have heard from the beginning, is PA Benjamin, who for a couple of years had been an associate sponsor, and last year was a gold sponsor. But this year they have further deepened their involvement with the Wesley Powell meet by rising to title sponsors. To bring greetings from PA Benjamin, our title sponsors, let's welcome Mr. Christopher Powell, director of the company. Thank you. Put your hands together for him.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, athletes, members of the media, and supporters of track and field, a very warm welcome to the Wesley Powell Track and Field Meet and Media Launch. I am Christopher Powell, Factory Manager and Director of PA Benjamin Manufacturing Company Limited, and I am truly honored to be here with you this morning. 20 years could not have come easily, and so today marks not only the start of another year's event, but a celebration of the dedication and its profound impact that the Wesley Powell Track Meet has made on the lives and careers of athletes. To each person here today, your unwavering support and tireless efforts have been the driving force behind the extraordinary growth of this prestigious event, transforming it from its humble beginnings to now hosting over 1,700 athletes from 53 different teams. PA Benjamin Manufacturing Company for over 144 years has committed to excellence in pharmaceuticals, healthcare, personal care, and culinary preparations. Coming on board as a title sponsor signifies our commitment and extends beyond our products to enhancing lives in Jamaica and across borders. We strive to make a positive impact not just in business, but in the communities that we serve. Our partnership with Excelsior High School, known for its exceptional growth in track and field, is an initiative to connect and resonate with a younger audience. We aim to introduce and familiarize the younger generation with our range of products, ensuring they understand how these aid and support athletes and coaches in their endeavors. Our goal is not just to provide products, but to establish a connection and a better understanding of the evolving needs of our younger demographic in the pursuit of excellence. From our topical rubs such as Blue Ice and Healing Oil, to our rubbing alcohol with wintergreen and bay rum, our offerings bring immediate relief to muscles, optimizing performance for athletes to reach their personal best. At PA Benjamin, our commitment extends beyond our support for the competition. We champion training events as well. We are enthusiastic about engaging with coaches and athletes, understanding their needs and preferences, to offer invaluable assistance throughout their journey from preparation to the final competition. In conclusion, as title sponsor, we at PA Benjamin stand in support of all 1,700 participants at this year's Wesley Nelson Powell Benjamin's Track and Field Meet. As we embark on the 20th staging, let us come together and ensure that this event transcends boundaries, becoming an unprecedented success. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And so from the title sponsor to the engine room of the event, the organizing committee, please allow me to introduce to you those persons who have worked assiduously to put all of this together. Let me introduce to you the members of that committee. Beginning with the chairperson, Mr. Desmond Shakespeare. Would you be acknowledged? Put your hands together for him. Mr. Michael Giuridini. Put your hands together. Mr. David Riley in the back. Mr. Wade Marr. Mr. Patrick Brissett. Busy all morning. Miss Carol Long. Mr. Daniel Gray. Mr. Jan Clark. And Mr. Garth Riley. Thank you so much. Also, we'd like to introduce to you the meet officials who play a pivotal role in the success of the meet. The meet director is Mr. Cosmo Stevens. Please put your hands together for him. Competitions director is Mr. David Riley, again. Call room referee, Langley Robinson. The chief marshal is Rashid Josephs. Registration on the run JA are the ones who are responsible. Photo finish, the J3A. Field referee, Carol Coughley, very well-known official. Track referee, Olive McNaughton. The starters, Reginald Reese. Equipment manager, Lloyd Bembridge. Technical manager, Chad Wright. Event presentation manager, Audrey Thompson. Competition secretary, on the run JA. Medical, Dr. Cyril Gray and Dr. Lee Martin. And finally, our announcers, Celia French, Earl Spencer, and Sean Grant. Just put your hands together for all these persons. And those persons who have been associated with this event knows that every year there is a special honoree. Each year we honor some persons for their contribution to Jamaica's track and field or to the Excelsior community. For this year, we will be recognizing a special group of former Excelsior athletes who brought glory to Excelsior and Jamaica. They are the Excelsior Pen Relays Pioneers, a squad of 11 athletes who helped establish Jamaica's high school present at this international renowned event in the mid-1960s. Of such importance was it to a fledgling nation that the then Prime Minister, the Minister of Finance and Minister of Education came to Excelsior to celebrate their Penn's victory in 1967. Our Penn's pioneers, three of whom are here today, are Neville Myton, Rupert Thomas, Jeffrey Simpson, Hewitt DePass, Dennis Smelly, Maurice Myton, Horace Levy, Tony Carr, Danny Clark, Garth Case, and Desmond Shakespeare. I just invite the three who are here present just to stand and be acknowledged. Mr. Shakespeare, Garth Case. Yes. They were the athletes who were pioneers. So we want to, on that day, we're going to specially recognize them and give them all the kudos that they deserve. And so now to some more greetings. The Manpower Maintenance Services Limited. This company has been partnering with the Wesley Powell Meet for several years. This year, they have increased their involvement with the meet and are now our hospitality partners. So please join me in welcoming to the podium Mr. Don Gittins, the CEO of Manpower Maintenance Service Limited.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Mr. Keith Wellington, President of ISA. My friend, title sponsor, Pierre Benjamin Limited. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, students, sponsors, good morning. Now, earlier this year, we did what at Manpower did what is called passing the baton. Is baton or baton? Baton. Passing the baton. And that was Mrs. Audrey Hinchcliffe, who is a famous alumni of yours. And she said to me, passing in discussion, she said, Don, I'm not going to interfere. But there's one thing that's non-negotiable, and that is Excelsior High School. So I took that to heart. So anything to do with Excelsior High School, if you come to me early, I might have been your title sponsor. However, with that being said, we at Manpower Maintenance Services Limited Group, we are delighted to be the hospitality sponsor, and we are happy that we are here to go through this journey with you on the 20th staging of the Wesley Powell track and field meet. We are delighted. I too have quite a few friends who are past Excelsorians. Some of them are anything. So Patrick Brissett actually gave me a call, came and met with me, and we sat down, and that's how we were able to work out everything. Michael Giardini, my friend and neighbor. Desmond, we worked at John Pro together, right? And I have to mention Lloyd Distance Sr., who celebrated a birthday yesterday, right? Right, 91 years old. A very, very, very proud Excelsorian. So, Manpower and Maintenance is here to stay. We are going to ensure that we make our presence felt at Excelsior. And the track meet will be the cleanest and most manicured that you've ever seen since it started. And I want to thank you all for helping us to be here with you. And I'm looking forward to a fantastic event. Thank you. And I must also welcome the press. Thank you, press.
So, of course, we could not have had a function such as this without. Thank you. The name Excelsior actually means yet higher, and the song is so appropriate. It's a message of calling you to a higher standard of performance. This was the theme song for the Reggae Boys in 1998. I always remember this, the vibe that we get at that time, and how the country was so alive and motivated. And we are suggesting that the Wesley Powell meet, 20th staging, we are just soaring like the eagle. Put your hands together one more time. Thank you. So at this time, ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman I'm about to introduce needs no introduction, especially in the Jamaican sporting arena. He's a graduate of Bethlehem Teachers College, Athabasca Open University in Canada, and Florida University. A renowned educator and principal of St. Elizabeth Technical High School. He's a board member of Greenfield Media, an executive member of the County of Cornwall Athletics Association, chairman of the Competition Complaints Committee of the Jamaica Cricket Association, and a member of the Youth Committee of the Jamaica Football Federation, and president of the Intersecondary Schools Association, ISA. Ladies and gentlemen, just as I said, he needs no introduction. They're very hard-working. Please help me welcome our most distinguished guest speaker, Mr. Keith Wellington.
Thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. And just for the record, it may have been important for you to say that I'm a Monroe old boy and that I'm a member of the J3s. Thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. Principal Bromfield, Principal Bromfield, distinguished guests, especially members of the media, and most importantly, I think Mr. Bromfield will say, those representing the sponsors for this meet. I am very, very pleased to see the support that is being offered, not just to Excelsior and the Wesley Powell meet, but to the young student athletes who need the support so that the entire Jamaica in a few years from now can be jumping up and down watching the Olympics or the World Championships. So I want to commend our sponsors. It's not ours, it's our sponsors, or the sponsors of the Wesley Powell meet. I'm saying sponsors because they're trying to own you for something else. Good morning. Good morning. Let me thank the organizing committee for inviting me here today. It's a pleasure for me to be here to share in this occasion and to share on the topic that I've been asked to share on. But before I get into the topic, I want I learned a couple things since I'm seated here. I just Googled Wesley Powell. I know of Wesley Powell, but one of the things I learned today is that he was born in Santa Cruz, St. Elizabeth. So he accompanied me here today. All right? So I want to recognize and honor the memory of Dr. Honorable Wesley Powell. He is undoubtedly one of Jamaica's greatest educators. Excelsior is not just living testimony of his work and worth, but there are so many other things happening in education that we can attribute to Dr. Powell's involvement. Right, if we go way back to his involvement in the JTA and the other activities that he has been involved in, we want to recognize him for the value that he has added to Jamaica, to our young people that he interacted with, and to the continued growth of the education system. While I'm going to be speaking on a topic that I'm sure I noticed that Dr. Moggy Graham is here, and I know that it is a topic that is of deep interest to him. So I'm sure that he'll be listening attentively. So I'm sure I have at least one good member of the audience who will pay keen attention. So I'm going to be speaking. I've been asked to speak on the topic of ISA's eligibility for student athletes and our enforcement mechanism. And I want to go back to what we know of Dr. Powell and his beliefs and his significant interest in ensuring that the student is given every opportunity to excel in every single available facet that may eventually end up producing a worthwhile citizen. And I'm making mention of that because as educators, many times we do not recognize that our students are multifaceted. They have different abilities, they have different talents, and therefore we as educators must be willing to adapt. We must be willing to make sure that we do not go in front of a group of 40 students and see a class or a group, but actually see 40 different individuals. ISA is an organization of principals, and we came about over 112 years ago because at that time, our education system, our secondary education system in particular, was modeled on the British system. And it was felt that we needed to find a way to organize sporting competitions as was being done in Britain with the secondary schools competitions. And so the principals then of, I think, JC, Wolmer's, Calabar, they started ISA as a group of principals who organized, I think at the outset it was football. So we started, I think ISA's first, was it football or track and field? Football or track and field? Football, track and field. They came very close. So it was the Oliver Shield and Champs. Those were the two first sporting competitions organized by ISA. The Oliver Shield, which coincidentally included Monroe and Cornwall from rural Jamaica. So it was one football competition played for by everybody. I think I'm getting it right, but if I'm wrong, somebody can correct me, right? So coming out of that, I think the JFF came later, right? The JFF came later. J3As came later. And I think JCA came later. I'm saying all of this to make the point. Things have evolved in terms of the significance that we have placed on sports, sporting competitions, sporting development. And because of that, and because of how involved ISA has been, our competitions are often mistaken as the premier sporting competitions in the country. Yes, I did say it is mistakenly so. All right? Our competitions are really intended to be organized co-curricular activities for students. Let me repeat. Our competitions are intended to be organized co-curricular. So co-curricular means with the curricula for students. So I made no mention of athletes. Somewhere along the line, we started to have professional sports right across the world. Right? And so the concept of an athlete was developed. So we have footballers, track and field, baseball players, cricketers. So we now have athletes. And so the term student athletes came about because now we have students who are athletes. But at ISA, we want to remind everyone, including students and parents and supporters, that these athletes are students who participate in athletic activities. So they are not athletes. They are students who participate in athletic activities. And so we call them student athletes. All right? As time has evolved, we have had to find a way to ensure that the concept of a student involving in athletics recognize that their core function is that of a student. And so about 40 years ago, I think in the late 80s, prior to 40 plus years ago, you played in our competitions by simply saying that you attended a particular school, and the school select you, and you went ahead and represent the school. Many of us, or many of you, I came at the back end of those 40 years. I came to high school when those 40 years would have started. But many of you, the older ones, would recognize that there was a time when persons were representing schools that they never necessarily attended in the true sense of attendance. Right? And so it became necessary for ISA to put in rules that stipulated how a student became eligible to represent a school. And the basic one was that you must have attended school for at least 80%. It may have been different. The number may have been different. 80% is the number now. So you must attend school for at least 80% of the term prior to the competition that you are going to participate in. So if you want to do tracks in January, between September and December, you must have attended school for 80% of the time during that period, because we want to make sure that you are a student at the school. So that was or is one of our basic rules. Obviously, we have situations in Jamaica where attendance of students don't necessarily get to that level for different reasons. And so ISA is willing to take on a case-by-case basis a situation where a student is unable to meet that requirement. So we know, for example, there are students who, because of illness, or because of economic situations, or because of crime or something happening in the community, they can't necessarily get to that 80%. So we are willing on a case-by-case basis with evidence to allow a student who doesn't meet that criteria to participate. The other basic requirement for eligibility to participate in ISA competitions is that there must be some evidence to indicate that you are actually attempting to do schoolwork. Right? Attempting to do schoolwork. And I'm trying to choose my words carefully, because we're not trying to say that you must be bright to play. So we don't have an exam akin to the SAT that you sit and must pass in order to play. So we have an academic requirement which is simply aimed at saying to us that this student attended school and attempted to do his schoolwork, and therefore the rule as it stands now is that for at least 4 subjects, you must be able to produce at least 4 subjects where you have an average of a minimum of 45%. Now, why 4 subjects? Why 45? Now, we can debate as to whether or not, well, there are some persons who actually think that it is too much. I won't respond to anyone who thinks that it is too much to ask for a student to in 4 subject areas, have an average of 45 for the term prior to the competition. All right? Again, it is the term prior to the competition, not the term that you're in. So you can't be absent from school this term, but because you want to go to champs, you turn up in January, you train, and in March when when the entry is required, you say, boy, from January to March, I have an average of 45 in 5 subjects. You must start from September. So I won't respond to the persons who believe that that requirement is too stringent, right? I will respond, though, to those who believe that it should be more. So we say 4 subjects, right? A student in high school starts at grade 7. At States, a student in grade 7 does 14 subjects, right? In grade 9, they do 19 subjects. In grade 10, they do 8, right? So there are and other schools may have different numbers. Another school, a student in grade 7 may do only 6 or 7 subjects, especially based on what grades they come into high school with. So a student who gets into high school averaging, using the PEP term, what is it again, Mr. Brumfield? What's the PEP term? Development or beginning, right? So if you finish grade 6 at PEP and you're assessed as a beginning student or a developing student, your school may decide that, boy, you can't manage a workload of 12 or 13 subjects. So you're only going to do 6 or 7 subjects. So all of these are variations within our school system. When you leave high school, most colleges with 5 subjects, you matriculate to do a degree program. So we believe that 4 subjects is a reasonable assessment of you being able to find some level of competency academically, right? The 45, is it too high, is it too low? Again, we're not doing standardized testing, right? There isn't standardized testing in high school between 1st and 5th form until you get to CXC. So we had to find a score that we believe by any standard would give a clear indication that the student attempted to do his or her schoolwork. Because remember, we're not trying to say that they are bright or that they pass a subject. All we are trying to do is to say that they are a student, they are coming to school, and they are attempting their schoolwork, right? Which is minimum, but it is ensuring that everybody gets the opportunity to participate. So essentially, those are the only 2 criteria that ISA itself uses to determine eligibility. Well, no, sorry. There are some others, including foreign nationals and who becomes eligible at what age. There's a transfer policy. There's a transfer policy that determines that a student, well, one of the basic ones now, as is now, is that a student can only represent 2 member schools during their entire high school life. So during your entire high school life now of 5 or 7 years, you are only allowed to transfer once. Or, you can transfer as many times as you want, but you can only represent 2 different schools. So if you leave Excelsior to go to Holy Trinity, that's 1 transfer. If you decide, if you played for Excelsior or ran for Excelsior, go to Holy Trinity, played for Holy Trinity, ran for Holy Trinity, and decide that you don't like it there, then you can move, you can go to school, you can do your CXCs, you keep, but you can't play in ISA competitions anymore. All right? So that's one basic criteria. Another criteria is that there's a quota system where there's a restriction on the number of student athletes who previously represented another member school that can go and represent another school. So in netball, the Excelsior netball team, when you are watching it, can only have 2 netballers who previously played for another member school, unless there is a student on that team who came from another school that is no longer playing netball or is not playing netball, then that person would not be restricted. But if in the competition that is currently taking place, you see the Excelsior team, only 2 girls on that team could have represented another school that is currently playing in the competition. Right? There are different numbers for different sports. So for track and field, interested in now. For each class, so you have girls class 1, 2, 3, and 4. For boys, class 1, 2, and 3. For each class, only 2 boys or 2 girls who previously represented another school in track and field can be a part of your school team, unless the school they represented previously is not participating. So if a child is at a school that is not participating, we're not restricting them from going to another school and participate, outside of the other restrictions about academics and attendance and so on, right? But we don't want to punish them. So we have the transfer rules, we have the quota, the academic requirements, and the attendance requirements. How do we enforce those rules? Again, integrity is important to us. As a body of principals, we expect an entry is to be verified and signed and submitted by principals. So it is not the coach, it is not the head of department, it is the principal who is expected to verify that these are our students, these students attended school 80% of the time, these students got these grades that are reflected here, and this is my signature to say that I have verified it. Once they submit that, and we do our entries electronically now, so a lot of the data that is required for verification, well, not a lot. A lot of the bio data, so the date of births, the attendance, and so on, family names and all of that, those are stored in a database that we have. So when a student transfers from one member school, transfer in the sense of representing one school and moving to the other, we have a record that that student would have already represented one member school. So if the entry is done for that student for another member school, our database captures that data to indicate that he's coming from somewhere else. Obviously, fraud is always, we are always exposed to fraud, right? So if I enter Keith Wellington today as a student at Monroe representing them in football, and I enter their date of birth and their birth certificate number and all of that, when it comes to ISA, the clerk is supposed to look at all, so I'm going into the system for the first time. They are supposed to verify all of that and say, all right, he's verified, everything is good with him, date of birth correct, birth certificate number is correct, parents' name, all of that. If I then transfer to States, and States wants to enter me, States is simply supposed to just ask for a transfer for me because everything is there for me already. However, if States decides to cheat and decide that I'm going to submit something for Keith, and I put in his information, change up how his name is spelled, get a new birth certificate for him, then obviously Keith may be entered as now a student for States. So now we have to depend on the principal from Monroe and the coach from Monroe to say, hey, but that is not Paul Wellington, that's Keith Wellington. And then now ISA will have to investigate and find out how did Paul get it. And obviously, the principal of States will have to explain, how did you send me a photograph of this boy who we have as Keith Wellington? And you are now verifying him as Paul Wellington with this birth certificate. So those are some of the mechanisms that we use to ensure the integrity of our competitions and that the eligibility rules and regulations are abided by. It is not a foolproof system, and we know that while all of us want to ensure that there is integrity around us and that those who we interact with have integrity, we know that that is not always the case. All right? So I think I've covered all that I need to cover in terms of what I was asked to speak on. I want to again thank you for inviting me and to wish for the Excelsior family a successful 20th staging of the Wesley Powell Invitational Meet, and I know that it will go a far way in helping our student athletes to prepare for national championships from March 19 to 23, 2024. Thank you very much.
I'm going to ask Mr. Wellington just to remain as special token will be presented at this time.
Good morning, everyone. We would like to express our sincere gratitude to our distinguished guest speaker, Mr. Keith Wellington, President of ISA, for sharing his insightful expertise and thoughts to us today. You gave an inspiring and educational presentation. We are really grateful for your knowledge and assistance. We appreciate your part in making our event a success. Thank you.
Put your hands together. Thank you, Mr. Wellington, and to our student who made that presentation. I trust that the presentation by the ISA president would have bring some clarification to those persons who have been questioning the eligibility process of high school sports, and now you can have an appreciation of the difficulty of supervising a very complex process where so many students are involved and other persons are involved. So we thank you again, Mr. Weddington, for your lucid, if I will, presentation. So we're continuing and we're moving on nicely. The competitions director is Mr. David Riley, and I want to invite him now to give us the details of the event for December 9th. So please welcome Mr. Riley, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone, and especially those who have joined us online. The Wesley Powell Benjamin's Track and Field Meet 2023 starts on the 9th of December, as you've heard before, at 8:30 a.m. And similarly to how we started the media launch on time this morning, we aim to start the Wesley Powell Meet on time. The registration is only online, and this meet pioneered that in Jamaica with a full online registration. And we've always been pioneering things because it's the first meet in the year, so everybody wants to try new things with us as it rolls out for the rest of the season. The deadline is the 4th of December at 8 p.m. and no same-day registrations will be taken. In addition to that, there is a coaches meeting that will be held the Friday night, which is the 8th at 8 o'clock. And that will be when final declarations for changes and entries must be made. And of course, the following day, we will be running the races using pre-drawn heats. And so those heats will be available online that same night. Athletes will know particular heat they're in and who the competitors in their heat. There's a pre-meet workshop, as was mentioned before, and that will be the 1st of December at 11 a.m. online on Zoom, and that will be Miss Dr. Olivia Rose Esperance will be leading that session. The entry fee for the meet, it's an athlete-based entry fee, so it's per athlete, it's $500 per athlete and $1,000 for a relay team. All entry fees must be payable to Excelsior High School. We're also charging admission into the venue. It's $500 per person and $200 for parking. The events will be contested in all classes, classes 4, 3, 2, and 1, and the open category. And of course, we're running over distance events, and I must tell you that this is a particularly interesting competition. We have, I'm not sure if you're aware, but the sport has moved completely away from qualifying by performance standards. So they're no longer using a fixed standard to determine whether the athlete qualifies by time or by distance. It has moved to a ranking system. And so it's the top-ranked athletes get a chance to compete. And interestingly, since we've moved locally to the ranking system, which is managed by ISA and the J3, to determine which athletes actually enter champs, apparently some coaches haven't realized yet that a performance done in December more than likely won't survive the onslaught of everybody running fast by March. So December is not about registering a qualifying mark for champs. It can't be. Even the elementary coach would know that the athlete must be faster in March than they are in December. So December is not about qualification. It must be about something else. December is about getting your team out, giving everybody a chance to race, getting some information from what you've been doing so far, see the times and so on. So the meet becomes even more relevant than ever before. So the coaches, the very forward-thinking coach who's using a lot of data will find our meet to be very much useful. And so the over-distance event, 150, 300, 600, and this year we're running the 600 class 4 for the first time on both boys and girls side. The 1,000 meters, the 3,000 meters open for females, and the 5,000 meter open for males. The 4x300 meters for primary school, and that's a mixed relay where the girls will lead off, followed by the boys, the girls on the third leg, and anchored by the boys. That's a mixed relay for the primary schools. But for the high schools, it will be by gender, 4x300 meter girls and 4x300 meter for boys. In the field, we have long jump for all classes, and high jump for all classes, shot put, javelin, and the pole vault event will be for exhibition. Top 3 finishers in each heat, in every class will receive an award. And this year we're actually trying something that was done at the World Championships with the Q room, where athletes waiting to see whether they've qualified would sit in the Q room. In this case, we're going to be trying to do the medal presentations immediately after the conclusion of the event. So the fastest 3 people so far will actually sit in the Q room, and then once the final heat is run, we present the medals to those 3. It's an innovation. We don't know if it's going to work, but let's see. We're willing to pioneer this concept. So, of course, additional information can be had from the PE department here at Excelsior. And I think the number is 619-0728. And if you have team manager that you're preparing your entries, those can be exported and emailed to entries@wesleypowermeet.com. The order of events, we're proud to announce that for the 20th staging, we have revised the order of events, and it is a little bit more exciting now. Not that it wasn't exciting before, but we started off with the 5,000 meters, then we're running the 300 for all classes, then the 1,000 meters, the 600 follow after that, the opening ceremony, then the 150 meters, the 3,000, and then the 4x300 meter relay. The order of events is already available on the website for you to download, and it is a very detailed order of events. By the minute, you could find out what time you're supposed to compete, and that will help coaches to prepare properly for their charges as they go out there. It's a 9-lane track, 400 meters, grass. We have separate areas for warm-up and marshalling, separate area for javelin shot put, and there are 2 Mondo long jump runways to allow for us to have 2 different flights of horizontal jumps. The age groups are based on the ISA rules as at September 1, 2024, and those are all in the classes, and that should be very easy for persons to follow As I mentioned, the online portal for registration is already open, and coaches can begin to enter their athletes for this, the 20th staging of the Wesley Powell Benjamin's track and field meet. Thank you.
Thank you too. So we come to the nice part of the day, and this is the period when we're going to invite the sponsor. So you're here as a sponsor. I'm going to ask you to prepare yourself because you're going to be doing the presentations of the various sponsors, starting, of course, with our title sponsors. So our list of sponsors includes some of Jamaica's best companies, and we greatly appreciate your involvement in this meet. So at this time, if you're ready, let's go, starting with our title sponsor, P.A. Benjamin, the official, yes. I'm going to ask members of the organizing committee who will be receiving, okay, yes, the principal, and Mr. Brissett is very much ready, looking forward to the envelope. So let's go. Put your hands together for P.A. Benjamin. Top dollars. Oh, we didn't know that. Oh, so I'm just learning. Good news that P.A. Benjamin, they have decided to be title sponsors for the next 5 years. Great, 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 great. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. So the other categories, we have our gold sponsors, and the gold sponsors includes Grace Kennedy Remittance Services. If you are here, would you come forward? Excelsior Class of 1980 and Excelsior Syndicate. If you are here, oh yes, very much. Grace Kennedy is here. And the check is looking good. Well, I see the envelope. And I know that good money is in there. Yes. Excelsior Class of 1980, if you're here. And the Excelsior Syndicate. That name is a strange name, the Syndicate. Oh, they are not here. All right. And now to our hospitality sponsor, Manpower Maintenance Services Limited. Let's give them a round of applause, everybody, as they make their presentation. And of course, you know that in athletics, you need to be hydrated. And so we have a hydration sponsor. Lasco is our hydration sponsor. Let's welcome Lasco. Are they here? Okay. All right, so they are not here this morning. And also, very importantly, telecommunications sponsor, Flow. Representative from Flow, are you here? Not seeing them? All right, and as they say, 1-1 Cocoa full basket. So we have associate sponsors who are going to support the major sponsors. And those sponsors include Staparm Services. If you are here, a representative from Staparm Services. Oh, that's a, okay. Oh, they need a picture, photo up. Oh, that's all right, as long as the funds get in the account. All right, Caribbean Assurance Brokers, are they here? Oh, yes. And they're looking good in more ways than one. Oh my! You know, I'm Caribbean Assurance Brokers. I've been sponsoring this meet for over a decade, and they have also been one of our gold sponsors for many years. So let's put our hands together and give them a rousing round of applause. And they are part of the Excelsior family. So they are eagles, they're soaring. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Caribbean Assurance Brokers. Technique Lab. Where's Mr. Riley? Dr. Riley? You know the song, Here Comes Dr. Riley? Well, I'm not seeing him, but Technique Lab is an associate sponsor. Good stewards. Good stewards. All right, let's put our hands together. We want to show appreciation. Good stewards. Thank you. Wonderful. Caribbean Depot. Caribbean Depot, are you here? Yes, Mr. Giardini. It's coming to make his presentation. I noticed Caribbean Depot and Caribbean Depot distributors, both companies. Wow. It is so nice, they have to do it twice. So put your hands together. And the envelope, I'm kind of giving an indication. All right. And the final associate sponsor today is eFast. eFast. Yes, let's put our hands together for eFast. Also, someone who has been supporting us for a very long time as well, and we appreciate it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to express our gratitude to our sponsors, without whom this event would not be possible. So for all our sponsors, our title sponsors, gold and associate sponsors, would you kindly put your hands together one last time? Give everybody a rousing round of applause. Okay, and now we should be having, I am not certain, a video presentation. So we're going to ask for that to be done at this time. Video presentation. So focus your eyes on the screen that is available. To my right, your left.
It's a big 2-0. Yes! 20 years of the Wesley Powell meet to be celebrated on Saturday, December 9 and brought to you by Benjamin's. You don't want to miss this pre-Christmas family event. Lots of fun rides and non-stop action on the track. 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Excelsior High School in Kingston. Free Wi-Fi, lots of prizes and surprises, and a unique experience for everyone. Visit wesleypowellmeet.com for more information. Admission $500. Don't miss it.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so that was the video presentation. Didn't hear anything, but I'm sure you would have seen snippets of past meets. So we're coming down towards our close, but before we do that, I'm sure the media who are present here this morning would want to ask some questions of the organizers. So I'm going to open the floor for questions, and the organizers will be happy to respond to your questions. So members of the media or members of the audience, if you wish to ask questions, this is your opportunity. Yes, sir? Is there another microphone we could use to assist?
Really?
Oh, okay, just before we ask questions, sir, I beg your pardon. We're just making a slight adjustment. I need to announce to you all our sponsors. The ones I had announced before were those who were present. But there are others who are not present who I want us to recognize this morning. So please permit me just to run through those sponsors associate sponsors who were not present but who will be supporting the meet. So they are Medical Disposable and Supplies, Vector Technology Institute, Tankweld Fabrication, Pam Hall, Mothers. By the way, Pam Hall is a past student of this institution. You know, Pam Hall is a very well-known reggae artist. Mothers, Docutech, Dr. Newton Duncan, Bonnie Levy Associates, Carl's Manufacturing, Sir Willard White, On the Run Events Management, 3-in-1 Construction and Technical Services, Troppy Shades, Judith and Winston Ewart, Darian Green, Paul McCollum, Sydney and Nicola Crisp, Dawn Williams, Arnold Aikind, Stride Vision TV, Weber's Engineering Service, Seasons, Prior Shoes, Clothing and Home, Leo Smith, Kimon Campbell, Dr. Dwight Benjamin, Rapid Procurement, Darian Green again, Donald Grant, Mikey Davey, George Willie, and Garth Sherwood. So could you kindly just put your hands together in their absence? Thank you so much. And so we move on then to Q&A for those persons with questions, especially from the media. But sir, you have a microphone. Please go ahead.
Yes. Good morning. I'm Dr. Lasselv Graham.
Yes, sir.
But to whom should I address the question?
The ISA president had to leave because he has to go back to Santa Cruz.
Well, sorry to hear that. But first of all, let me just say how happy I am to be here. Dr. Wesley Powell was one of my heroes. I had a very high regard for him, although I am a Georgian, right? But I think we should have categories in terms of national honors so that we could have national hero Wesley Powell in education.
It's an ongoing debate.
Okay? So anyway, my question is, why does ISA set the penalty bar so low? In other words, given that we know that there are schools, a number of schools, to say the least, who want to win at all cost. All right? And they recruit so to do. And hence, what happens is that they abuse and corrupt the role of sports as an extracurricular activity in our schools. You know, the status and the spirit of extracurricular activity is lost. Okay, so what we would find is that, for example, our schools say that they recruit to help youngsters who may not have the facilities, may not have the program, may not have the proper coaching. But we find that our schools are recruiting from sports academies, where you have the best facilities, the best programs, and good coaches. You know, so these are the things. And so a school will say, for example, that a school will say, for example, having recruited heavily and having a great team,
Yes.
that, look here, if we can get an excellent goalkeeper, we are
Okay.
unbeatable.
All right, I appreciate, let me just cut you there, I have to, but I appreciate your comments and questions, but unfortunately, as you heard, the person who could maybe respond to you is not here, and it's way
I'm so
above my pay grade.
Unhappy
So
about that.
I'm
but
going to...
We need to stop recruiting just to win at sports.
Sir, that's obviously one of your hobby horses, yes. So I want to keep the questions with respect to the meet.
Okay, morning everyone.
Yes, sir.
My question is to the organizers. Now, I see where it is $500 per athlete and $1,000 for a relay team. Now, it's the first meet of the season, basically. So I was wondering if you could not have a case where, let us say you have over X amount of athletes, where you pay the $500, and if you have over that quota, you probably pay half price, basically, to balance. Because it's the first meet, and many athletes, many coaches who want to have a look-see. Probably for some people training, it might be the only meet them can go. You know what I mean? So I'm saying, if you have a quota of, say, probably 30 will be about 15,000. Anything over that is half price or something like that. And then we're going to pay for relay. So I don't know.
The organizer, Mr. Riley, can you respond to that?
Coach Carr, if I understand your question or your suggestion, is that once you reach a certain number, once a team enters a certain number of athletes, you want a discount. That's that correct? Well, we probably need to appreciate the cost of putting on such an event. And we know, because we at Excelsior, we also have a track team. And we enter, as you know, most of these events, most of these meets, and I know it's very costly to enter the track meets. But it's also very costly to put on the meets. And so we have to strike a balance. What I can say at this time, we can consider your suggestion in the future. So thanks for your contribution.
Thank you, sir. All right, so we have to close shortly. There's another event that is going to be taking place in here. So if there isn't any more question, then we want to conclude our day's activity. Want to thank all of you for your cooperation. Thank our guest speaker who had to leave. Thank all our sponsors who, of course, have been doing such a great job in supporting this venture. And want to thank all of you who are here present, the student athletes, members of the Excelsior Choir, and all those who did anything towards the success of today's event. So at this time, I'm going to invite all of us to stand, and we will be closing with the national anthem. And we ask that we observe the relevant protocol where that is concerned. We stand at attention, and we will sing the national anthem. Mr. Musician. Eternal Father, bless our land. Guard us with thy mighty hand. Keep us free from evil powers. Be our light through countless hours. To our leaders, great defender, grant true wisdom from above. Justice, truth be ours forever. Jamaica land we love. Jamaica, Jamaica, Jamaica land we love. Teach us true respect for all. Stir response to duty's call. Strengthen us the weak to cherish. Give us vision lest we perish. Knowledge ascend us, Heavenly Father. Grant true wisdom from above. Justice, truth be ours forever. Jamaica land we love. Jamaica, Jamaica, Jamaica land we love. God bless you. Have a good afternoon.